Future trends global climate policy's impact. In the not-so-distant future, the world finds itself at a critical juncture in the fight against climate change. The Paris Agreement, once a bold aspiration, has transformed into a binding framework that unites nations in a shared commitment to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. As countries strive to meet their targets, the regulatory landscape is evolving rapidly, shaped by landmark initiatives like the EU Green Deal and the SEC Climate Disclosure Rule. These agreements are not merely bureaucratic documents, they are the backbone of a new era in global climate policy, one that emphasizes transparency and accountability in carbon accounting. Imagine a world where every business, large or small, is required to disclose its carbon footprint as part of its annual reporting. This is no longer a distant dream, but an impending reality. The SEC Climate Disclosure Rule mandates that companies publicly report their climate-related risks and their strategies for mitigating them. A modern legal policy book, thick with regulations and guidelines, sits on the desks of compliance officers worldwide, a testament to the seriousness with which governments are approaching climate accountability. The pages are filled with meticulous details, outlining the responsibilities of corporations to disclose their emissions, the potential financial risks posed by climate change, and the strategies they must adopt to remain compliant in this new regulatory environment. As nations implement these regulations, the introduction of carbon taxes and emissions caps becomes commonplace. Countries are developing thematic heat maps of carbon pricing schemes, illustrating the diverse approaches taken across the globe. Some regions have embraced aggressive carbon taxes, incentivizing businesses to innovate and reduce their emissions, while others have opted for cap-and-trade systems, allowing companies to buy and sell emissions allowances. This dynamic landscape fosters competition and encourages businesses to adopt greener practices, driving technological advancements that were once thought impossible. The imagery of a world map, colored in varying shades representing different carbon pricing strategies, illustrates a collective movement towards sustainability, where every country plays a role in the global effort to combat climate change. In this new era, carbon accounting is no longer a mere best practice. It is becoming a legal requirement. Businesses that fail to adapt to this reality risk facing severe penalties and losing their competitive edge. CEOs and CFOs alike are now acutely aware of the implications of non-compliance. Picture a CEO sitting in a sleek office, intently reading a compliance alert on a laptop. The alert highlights the latest updates on carbon accounting regulations and the urgent need to align corporate strategies with evolving compliance requirements. The stakes are high, and the pressure to adapt is palpable. Companies that once viewed carbon accounting as a voluntary exercise are now scrambling to implement robust reporting frameworks, ensuring they can provide accurate data on emissions and sustainability efforts. As this regulatory landscape continues to shift, businesses must remain agile, ready to pivot in response to new requirements. The ability to track and report carbon emissions accurately becomes a competitive advantage as stakeholders increasingly demand transparency. Investors are no longer satisfied with vague commitments to sustainability. They want concrete data and assurances that companies are taking meaningful steps to address their environmental impact. This shift in expectations is reshaping corporate strategies, pushing organizations to integrate sustainability into their core operations. The future of global climate policies is one of unity and collaboration. Countries are recognizing that climate change knows no borders, and the fight against it requires a collective effort. As nations come together to share best practices and learn from one another, the regulatory framework around carbon accounting will continue to evolve, becoming more sophisticated and comprehensive. In this landscape, the role of businesses is pivotal. They are not just participants, but key players in the global transition to a sustainable future. The narrative is clear. Carbon accounting is no longer optional. It is an essential component of responsible business practice, interwoven with the very fabric of corporate governance and compliance. Thank you for watching this episode of the Acopoly Carbon Accounting Masterclass. Every number we track, every footprint we reduce, and every decision we make brings us one step closer to a low-carbon future. Whether you're an individual, a business, or a community leader, your action matters. Stay curious, stay committed, and keep building the world we all deserve. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the next step in your sustainability journey. This is Ecopoly, decoding the climate economy, one story at a time.